Hey there, all my ghouls and goblins, kobolds and orcs, elves, dwarves, and humans alike. Oh, wait, we can't forget the tieflings or the halflings or anybody in between. Brian Vonvier back at it again. I have a question for everybody out there. Once again, I pose a simple question. What are your best unused character concepts? Part 2. Leave them in the comments below if you got anything that's a rapid fire out there. Hoping to use this one soon once the DM comes back from his trip out of state. The campaign I'm going into is a seafaring, island-hopping adventure. So I pulled out my bare-bones concept for Sea of Opportunity and fleshed him out. Sea was kidnapped young during a pirate raid. The incident was so traumatic for him that he lost most of his memory of his former life, and was readily accepting of the pirates, who were going to grow him out to sell his pelt on the black market, until they realized what a help he was as his new family. Normally he's a bubbly, helpful member of the crew, but occasionally, at the call of the DM to roll, his second personality takes hold. Cannons on Deck is a surly and highly aggressive fellow who refuses to do anything that isn't relating to the ship's weapons, but he's the best shot with his namesake, and so the crew tolerates him in most cases, and welcomes his expertise during battles. Sea and Cannons are a trickery domain cleric praying to the split goddess Tyke and her daughters Timora and Bashaba. Sea is a right-handed person wearing a ring of Timora and is the much better card player. He smiles all the time, so he must have a good hand, right? While Cannons is left-handed and wears a ring of Bashaba. Best to ward off Bashaba's influence when operating something that could crush you or blow up in your face and kill you in short order. Also planning on using their eye patch to warn my teammates that the switch has happened. C wears it on the left eye, while Cannons wears it on the right. I am 100% making an eye patch to stick to my glasses and swap it over when I change personalities. Hey look, that was extremely creative and I loved every bit of it. I've been waiting to play this guy in a less serious mid-level campaign for some time now. Names and locations are fill in the blank for whatever campaign he's plopped into. Farum was born to Bob and Susan in an aristocratic high elf family in the Faroe Woods. Despite being a high elf by blood, he is notably orc-like in his appearance, intelligence, and strength. Many townsfolk believed that his true father was actually an orc, though his parents insisted that he was simply born cursed or deformed. This rumor is actually true, but only Susan knows that he is truly the son of Karaktershama. Farum had a difficult childhood, mostly owing to the fact that he is incredibly dim. During his school years, he was dubbed Tardcock by his classmates, and unfortunately took this as a point of pride and began to refer to him as such. He was taken out of school shortly after, and instead taught from home. At 17, Farum ran away from home, leaving a poorly written letter describing his reasons, such as, "Mommy and Daddy mean, Tardcock no like fancy parties," and "Tardcock go live with aminals, Tardcock like aminals." He then went to live in the woods of the wilds of Jameson Woods, and despite being incredibly stupid, thrived on account of his excellent survival skills. There he spent the next few years occasionally fighting off bandits and eating many things. Things I don't really want to know about because it's terrifying to think about. He has an intelligence and wisdom of 4 and will become a barbarian. I built this character as an NPC in my homebrew world of Envora, specifically in the country of Astria, where orcs and half-orcs are considered monstrosities and are killed on sight if they are ever found in the civilized parts of the world. But I have a couple DM friends who are interested in running games in my world, and if they ever do, I want to run her as a PC. Her name is Tulath, an unusually tall 8'6" half-elf, half-orc barbarian. Someone spilled Miracle Grow on her as a kid or something, I don't know. Hey, she took a lot of vitamin B. Tulath's elven mother, Aran Sanellis, was on deployment at a fortress called Gateway to the Abyss. This fortress was built in a mountain pass between the Copper Wilderness and the rest of the continent, with the sole purpose being to keep the monsters within the copper wilderness inside it. The orcs aren't actually the bad guys. They had volunteered to live in the copper wilderness to help kill off the monsters there, since they were the only race hardy enough to withstand the harsh environment there. But no one remembers any of that because it happened thousands of years before. While on patrol one day, her patrol was decimated by an orc patrol. Arin was badly injured and captured by one of the orcs, a warrior named Gambors. She was held captive for a couple months, during which time her and Gambors became friends as he grew to respect her as a fellow warrior, while helping her recover from her injuries. The night before he let her leave, they ended up getting drunk and sleeping together. Arin discovered she was pregnant after returning home and gave birth to Tulath in secret. Tulath lived in a soundproofed basement apartment Arin built for her for 25 years, until she was accidentally discovered and both her and her mother were forced to flee. Arin gave Tulath a parting gift before they went their separate ways, a ring that obscures her appearance to make her look like an unnaturally tall human rather than a green-skinned half-elf, half-orc. The most interesting part of this entire build, however, is that Tulath is a very intelligent girl, much more intelligent than most barbarians typically are. She reads, writes, and speaks fluently in both Elvish and Sylvian, but she doesn't know Common as her mother never taught her to speak it. So she knows Elvish, Sylvian, and that's it. She picks up some Common along the way in her travels, but she doesn't know enough to speak it well. So when she does make an attempt, she sounds like your typical dumb barbarian. However, if someone in the party speaks to her in either Elvish or Sylvian, she will respond fluently. I can't wait to play her in a party and totally floor them when she starts rattling off something in perfect Sylvian out of the blue while looking like a massive human warrior carrying a great axe the size of the other party members. This is a character that I've kept on the back burner for quite a while. Ashay Atam Izir. In short, she is a Scourge Asimar with the physical appearance of a tiefling and a multi-class scout rogue storm herald barbarian. I won't write down her backstory here, there's a lot there and she intended to start around 10th level, but I will bring up the important info when context is necessary. Ashay is driven towards bettering the world around her, even putting her life on the line if necessary. However, this is hidden by her reserved and aloof demeanor, which she puts on in order to make it harder for people to get close to her, for fear of losing them like she has so many others. The deaths of her mother and the nomads she later adopted as her surrogate family being the most impactful. Behind this facade, she is passionate and fiercely loyal to her friends. In addition to being a defense mechanism to push people away, Ashay's stoicism also serves a more practical purpose. Due to her hybrid nature, her celestial and fiendish blood fights within her veins, causing her considerable mental torment, which she attempts to mitigate by limiting her emotions. This causes her to have quite severe mood swings and a constantly shifting perception of the people and events around her. However, her willpower is strong enough that even in her darkest moods, she can usually refrain from doing anything that she will later regret. And usually. Since I've been unable to play this character due to a variety of reasons, I've decided to actually rework her into one of the main characters in a comic series I'm currently making. That way she doesn't go to waste, as I quite like her. Also, I feel that I should mention that Ashay is heavily inspired by Marceline Abadir from Adventure Time, with additional elements taken from about a dozen other sources. And yes, she does have a princess waiting for her somewhere out there. Hey, do you need a voice actor for your comic series online? We got 2 over here, buddy. Oh, I have quite a few. Ooh, this person has a list. I'm excited. It's bullet pointed and everything. Ooh, Sal, half-elf arcane trickster rogue who is on a quest to kill a high-elf wizards that had murdered his parents. Zena, female, variant human, or tabaxi reskinned to be more wolf-like than cat-like, Beastmaster Ranger. Wanderer who really dislikes men that try to take women against their will. Yeah, hell with those types. Lokar Rune, half-orc eldritch knight, a mercenary. Parents had been an orc warrior and a human healer that had to work together to deal with a common enemy. Felix flexing moi paws. Thief rogue likes locks and jewels, having lived with gnomes that worked on such things. Joe Brown, somewhat inspired by my father. Aw, how cute. Champion fighter. A farmer turned part-time pit fighter, Joe fights to make money to buy medicine for his sick children and livestock. Your father's an inspiration. Alan Locke, inspired by my brother. Life Domain Cleric, a doctor who prefers to heal those in need. Doug Fox, inspired, in part, by my stepfather. A ranger who is a firefighter handling wildfires. That's interesting. Gracker, Lizardman Bounty Hunter, took to capturing bandits and other criminal trespassers upon learning that such folk can be traded for cattle, goat, and chickens, which is useful during lean hunting times. Sylvanus, Yuan-Ti Pureblood, a soldier whose lord was killed and his commander was executed for his failure. He now seeks those responsible for dishonoring his commander. Clang, Kenku Mercenary, an orphan who'd been something of a squire to another mercenary. Clang had traveled by his master's side for some time until the man was murdered. Now he seeks those responsible, making sure that his name is the last thing they hear. Clang! Zarif, or Zarif, Tiefling Celestial Warlock. Parents had been the leader of a large group of monstrous refugees who had tried to get away from war. They encountered a lord who, after the group dealt with a certain bandit issue, had allowed the group to settle nearby. A local priest disliked this. Years later, Zarif encountered a priestess in training, and the pair became good friends. Ooh, the priest really disliked this. One day the body of the priestess was found, and a grief-stricken Zarif offered himself up to whomever helped him. A unicorn appeared, restored the priestess, and revealed the murderer to be the priest himself, and sent him someplace fitting. The unicorn then told Zarif that he was to spread the word of tolerance to others, and the like. Dark Light, Drow High Elf Mix. Father was a drow criminal named Umbro that had left the Underdark and liked to rob the wealthy for the fun of it, especially those who were notorious criminals themselves. Mother was a high elf bounty hunter named Solar, who tried to capture him. Umbro saw he was being chased by a female high elf as a game. Solar saw it as a matter of pride to capture him, personal, racial, and professional. One day the pair found themselves on a private ship that wrecked in a storm on an island. The two were forced to work together to survive, dealing with the surviving pirates and dangerous beasts. And as time wore on, the barriers between the two dropped, the least being that of the thief and thief catcher, the greatest being that of a drow and high elf. Rescue eventually came, and Umbro allowed Solar to bring him in. He escaped from prison after returning to the mainland, but it seems that he'd left something to remember him by. After Darklight was born, Solar would occasionally run into Umbro, especially when she was after dangerous criminals and in a tight spot. In time, Darklight, who took after certain drow traits, like sunlight sensitivity, followed in his mother's footsteps, and also has the occasional encounter with his father during tricky situations. Fleetfoot, Centaur Monk, didn't see that as a centaur, an entertainer who likes to turn prayers into songs. Ooh, that's cool. Blinsk, a tiefling pirate captain, who, due to a sea goddess curse, as she wants his father's much-beloved hat, Blinsk has to take to the lowest position on any ship he's on, or if trouble befalls the ship. These are just but a few of the ideas I have, and we hope that you list out a whole nother slew of them. Hey everyone, Brian Von Vier here, of course checking in after the vid to make sure everybody rolls that D20, gets a critical hit, and leaves a like, subscribes, and rings the bell. Why should you ring the bell, you ask? Well, it lets you get notified whenever we post a new video. If you want to get notified when we go live, however, you should come follow us over on our Twitch page. We don't really go live too much anymore, but you never know. And if you'd really like to see some one-off shots or some funny little things that are 30 to 60 seconds long, check out our TikTok. Links are in the description below. Got a story to submit to us? Usually, we take it from our subreddit, r/MrRipper, but sometimes, like today, you can go ahead and put it down in the comments below. It all depends. Just make sure it's nice, lovely, readable, and formatted. That being said, if you want to help me out, Brian Von VA, check me out on my YouTube channel, though I do tend to stream more than I upload videos anymore, so check me out on Twitch as well. As always, I try to end things on a positive note, and today's no different. I, as of this recording, have been through so many changes, and I'm looking forward to all of them. I mean, change is a good thing. Sometimes we need to change, but I'm going to tell you something that I think everybody out there does need to hear. No matter how society is or what they demand of you, change happens gradually, and sometimes it doesn't happen for years. I'm 32 years old, and I might be older depending on what year you're listening to this in, but as of right now, I'm 32, and change finally hit me in a way that I needed it to. Sometimes you take 5, 10, 20 years, maybe up into your 40s, to finally get where you need to go, or to feel the way you need to feel. Don't let the world tell you how long or how short of a time you need to take. Take what time you need, because guess what? At the end of the day, it's your progress. It's you that matters, not anybody else. You work on you and go your pace. I love each and every one of you. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.